Idiot man or dog man? One is a fool, the other a wolf. And both are reflections of how manhood is portrayed in the media. But real men are made for more. Take a look.
New York Times bestselling author and cultural commentator Stephen Mansfield is deeply concerned about the current state of manhood. He says men are in crisis. From every direction, they're presented with a deformed version of masculinity. Stephen argues that men are made for more than this. In his book, Men on Fire, Stephen teaches men how to reclaim a righteous manhood so they can live well, invest in others, and leave a powerful legacy.
Please welcome back to the 700 Club, Stephen Mansfield. It's nice to have you with us today, Stephen.
Great to be with you, Jerry. Thank you.
Why does the media portray men as either fools or wolves?
Well, manhood really has become something to laugh about in the media today, and I guess that's coming from the universities to some degree. You certainly can go to university class these days and have masculinity presented as a negative in society, as toxic. And of course, men have done this to themselves. I don't let them off in this book. 20% of all college and university women are sexually abused. Who's doing that? Men. It's men who have allowed this whole state of manhood in our generation to be in decline. Men have been in decline by every measurable standard of late: academic performance, longevity, earning power. So part of it is the criticism of society. Part of it is what men have done to themselves. But the good news is it's fixable, and it's fixable in our generation.
How do men get a vision back of what a noble man is? That's really what you're writing about in the book. How do you define a noble man?
I define a noble man as a man who understands that he's made a man by God. And there are certain powers and obligations in that they're meant to be used for good. You see, most men don't have models. You don't have men in the home in a great many of American and world families. The models on television, again, as I humorously say in the book, idiot man and dog man. The models on television are either sitting at the strip club shoving 20s in somebody's underwear, or they're just weak and foolish and stupid, as many of the commercials depict. So most men don't have models. So what we have to do is help rebuild the culture of men, the society of men, pack men in with a band of brothers so that they begin to have models and they begin to have the coaching they need to accomplish their God-ordained design. And once you present this to men, they really rally to it.
You say also that men can't name a best friend, most of them. Why is that?
Well, this is one of the great tragedies. First of all, the male suicide rate is sky high in our generation. When we do the psychological postmortem, most men are saying, I'm killing myself because there's not a man who knows about me or cares about me. I've lost all my friends. Men today have very hard times making friends. The surveys show the average man can't name a best friend. The average man wouldn't know who he would call at 3 a.m. if he was out of town on a business trip and his wife needed something or his son got picked up by the police or something of that nature. He doesn't have anyone significant in his life. And this is because we haven't taught the lore, the craft, the art of building masculine friendships down through the generations. That hasn't come from our fathers for the most part. So the average man is walking alone. The other thing that contributes to this, of course, is just the pattern of the average man. I mean, he has friends when he's in high school, college, maybe the military, his early career. But as he gets older and he has a home and a wife and kids and a job to take care of, he tends to pull away from the friends he's had for years. He has what psychologists call rust friends. That's the guy who was in your wedding that you haven't talked to in 5 years. And so the average man in the Western world is walking alone, and we're paying the price for it.
When you're in a relationship, a lifelong relationship with a spouse, you shouldn't feel like you're walking alone. How do men fight to keep love alive in their marriage relationships?
I think men have unique gifts for this, but they have to be taught how to use it. I'm going to tell some bad news, good news for you ladies and bad news for the men. When they do aptitude tests, they find that women are superior to men in all areas except for two: abstract thought and aggression. So go ahead and celebrate, ladies. Men, though, have the ability to have abstract thought and aggression, which means they can envision something and then aggressively pursue it. They need to bring this to their romance life, bring this to their love lives. When we live with somebody for years, a spouse, of friends, or even our children, things condemn a little bit. We can be more aware of the faults than we are of the benefits. But men need to fight to keep that vision of what their wife is and how glorious she is and what great gifts she has and how she's the answers for so many things that he wanted, remembering what it was like when they were dating and how he fell in love with her. By keeping that vision uppermost, then a man has an ability to aggressively pursue his wife, which is these are the two gifts that men need to bring into the game. So we teach men how to do this, and I'll tell you what, it's transforming a lot of marriages.
You talk about the struggle that men sometimes have connecting with God. Why is that, and how can they overcome it?
Well, it's a couple of things. One of them is, and I say this as a loyal son of the church and devoted to the church, obviously, is that church has often been understood by men as a place where masculinity goes to die. Church is felt by many men as a feminine experience. It emphasizes emotions, it emphasizes art, it emphasizes higher thought. Men aren't incapable of those, obviously. But many times they don't bond with other men. It's sort of a Sunday morning experience, not really a full culture, a commitment to a band of people. And so men have often seen the church as anti-masculine, as something where masculinity is not really encouraged. But I think that's changing in our generation. I think pastors are starting to lead as men from the pulpit. Women are starting to understand how they can encourage noble manhood and prevent the downward spiral. And so church is changing, but it has been a big challenge. I mean, I'm sure, Terry, you've heard the jokes like I have. A man-eating lion would die of starvation in most churches was the criticism some years ago. But I think we're turning that. I really think we're making a difference and changing it in our time.
Well, the book is all about that. It's called Men on Fire, and it's available wherever books are sold. Stephen, thank you so much for being with us today. Great message.
Great to be with you. Thank you.